Hello everyone, I am Vivek Chaudhary and I will be presenting my work on fast forward relaying scheme to mitigate jamming attacks by full duplex radios. In this work, we have addressed denial of service attack on nodes with low latency messages in a crowded network. With crowded network, we mean that there are no unused frequencies present in the network. Further, the attacker we have assumed is a sophisticated attacker armed with a perfect full duplex radio and is capable of jamming a specific frequency while measuring the power level of entire spectrum. Therefore, any sink or surge in the power level of any frequency would raise alarms at the attacker. Although we know that denial of service attacks can be mitigated using frequency hopping, but there are no unused frequencies present in the network. Further, even if there were unused frequencies present in the network, the and victim uses those frequencies to hop his or her messages, then power level on the jammed frequency will drop. And since attacker is consistently monitoring the power level of each frequency, this would raise suspicions on the attacker that any mitigation strategy is going on. Therefore, any mitigation strategy that we use, it should uh, provide us reliable communication from source to destination, and second, it should engage the attacker on the jammed frequency. Therefore, after applying the mitigation strategy, the power level should be same as the power level before we applied the mitigation strategy. In this work, we propose semi-coherent fast-forward full duplex relays and an approximation for traditional map decoder to study the performance for practical modulation scheme using perfect full duplex radios. In the system model, we have a node Alice that wants to transmit low latency messages using on-off keying to Bob on the uplink frequency FAB. A powerful attacker Dave is trying to jam Alice from communicating to Bob while jamming her messages and consistently monitoring the power level on FAB. We also have a legitimate node Charlie that is in the vicinity of Alice and that is communicating to Bob using MPSK symbols. Charlie can operate in half duplex mode as well as in perfect full duplex mode and is capable of instantaneous manipulation of symbols. We also assume that all the nodes transmit symbols with unit power. As a countermeasure to the system model described before, Alice switches her operating frequency to FCB, that is the uplink frequency of Charlie, and communicate her low latency messages using on-off keying with power 1 minus alpha, where alpha is between 0 and 1. Charlie decodes Alice's message instantaneously using non-coherent energy detection, and if the detected message symbol is 0, Charlie communicates his PSK symbols as it is, whereas if Charlie decodes a symbol 1 from Alice, he rotates his PSK symbols by an optimal rotation and transmit them with power alpha. At Bob, a multiplexed version of Alice and Charlie symbols is received on frequency FCB. And since FCB was not affected by the presence of Dave, therefore the communication on FCB is coherent communication. Bob uses joint map decoder to decode Alice and Charlie symbol using joint decoding. Further, we have omitted the use of channel estimates to estimate the direct link between Alice to Bob and Alice to Charlie on the new frequency FCB, because we are in an adversarial environment. Therefore, we cannot rely on pilots. And second, we can save some time in low latency environment. Further, we also have to make sure that Dave senses unit power in frequency band FAB, that is a jammed frequency. Therefore, Alice and Charlie pour alpha and 1 minus alpha, the residual power in frequency FAB. Since Alice and Charlie are sharing a frequency resource, therefore, what is the best value of power splitting factor alpha such that the joint error probability at the Bob is minimized? This is the signal model for our countermeasure, where P01 and P10 are the flipping probabilities from 0 to 1 and 1 to 0 between Alice and Charlie, and Bob receives the multiplexed symbols, and Bob can receive four symbols corresponding to PSK symbol transmitted by Charlie. For example, if Charlie uses a 4 PSK constellation at his end, then the received symbol at Bob would be a 16-point constellation, where the constellation point in which Alice transmitted symbol 1 would have smaller variance, and the constellation point in which Alice transmitted symbol 1 would have larger variance. This is a much more formal definition of semi-coherent fast-forward full duplex scheme for the symbol received at Bob, where HCB is the Charlie to Bob link, HAB is Alice to Bob link, Y and Y prime are the PSK constellation and the rotated PSK constellation. Bob uses joint map decoder to decode Alice and Charlie's symbol given the knowledge of channel coefficient HCB. But each likelihood function is a Gaussian mixture scaled by the probabilities of their respective occurrence. And working with Gaussian mixture is very difficult. Therefore, we only consider the dominant terms in the Gaussian mixture, that is P00 and P11. Using these lemmas, we proved that only P00 in the first Gaussian mixture and P11 in the second Gaussian mixture are the dominant terms, and therefore we propose a dominant map decoder in which only the Gaussian mixture with coefficients of P00 and P11 are present. And using this dominant decoder, we can approximate the 16-point constellation that we just received to an 8-point constellation. For this 8-point constellation, we can compute the upper bound on probability of error, which is a function of alpha. Further, the respective probabilities P1, P1 complement, P2, P2 complement, P3, P3 complement are Markov Q functions and Q functions, and they're scaled by the respective probabilities of occurrence, that is P00, P01, P10, and P11. For the joint map, if we plot the joint map decoder and our proposed joint dominant decoder as a function of alpha, then we see that their error performance takes a dip at a particular value of alpha. This is the value of alpha that gives the minimal probability of error at Bob. Therefore, the joint map decoder and joint dominant decoder have same nature of curve. Further, we also plotted joint max decoder. These are the simulation plots, but we also plotted the analytical expression on upper bound on probability of error, that is joint dominant decoder union bound, and it has the same nature of curve as that of joint map decoder or joint dominant decoder. And we are interested in this dip value. But in the upper bound probability of error expression, we have some probabilities that we have some terms that are not so significant, and if we omit those terms, then the basic nature of our curve will not change. And from this theorem, we can prove that P00 and P01 are the non-significant terms, and if we omit them, then we will not alter the nature of the curve. Therefore, finally, we land on an expression that contains only the dominant terms, that are the coefficients of P11 and P10, but P2 and P2 complement are our Markov Q functions, and if we want to average out, then we already know that there are no closed form expressions for Markov Q functions. Therefore, to circumvent this particular problem, we saw that the lower bound on the first term, that is the coefficient of P11, and the lower bound on coefficient of P10 are decreasing and increasing functions respectively, and they intersect at a point that is very close to our optimal power splitting factor alpha. Therefore, we can lower bound the first term by the very last equation, and this is a decreasing function with respect to alpha. And we can lower bound the second term using this particular theorem and show that it is an increasing function of alpha. And if we have an increasing function of alpha and we have a decreasing function of alpha, and we say that the intersection of increasing function and decreasing function of alpha gives us the best value of alpha, and that can be evaluated using Newton-Raphson algorithm. We call this intersection value as alpha star. Here we plotted the upper bound probability of error expression with respect to alpha, and we showed that the increasing function and the decreasing function intersect at a value of alpha that is very close to the optimal value of dip. Here you can see that intersection point that gives us the alpha star is very close to the actual dip point. If we use this uh, alpha star that was obtained using Newton-Raphson algorithm in our joint map decoder, joint max decoder, and joint dominant decoder, then their performances are very close to each other. We also computed optimal value of alpha from the exact upper bound probability of error expression, and that value of alpha is computed using exhaustive search algorithm, and this value is given by alpha e. If this alpha e is used in joint map decoder, then the alpha e joint map decoder and alpha star joint map decoder are very close to each other. Further, initially we had Alice that was being consistently jammed uh, because of Dave, but when we used alpha star as power splitting factor and we used semi-coherent fast forward full duplex scheme, then we saw that the performance of Alice after using the mitigation scheme improved drastically. Whereas while Charlie was using 4 PSK constellation, his uh, performance took a hit. But since Charlie did not have any low latency constraints, it is acceptable at Charlie. Therefore, we have a trade-off. We have a trade-off curve between Alice and Charlie. Thus we had a problem. Initially, we had a problem that emphasized the need for considering full duplex adversaries in next generation wireless networks, and we studied a threat model wherein a full duplex adversaries execute denial of service attack through jamming and also monitor the power level on the jammed frequency. We also showed you that conventional mitigation strategies leads to degraded performance. And finally, we proposed a cooperative strategy using fast forward full duplex relays, and we presented their error analysis to derive power splitting factor between Alice and Charlie. That's all from my side. Thank you. Have a nice day.